Are your feet cutting? Maybe your butt is hanging. It can be really challenging to engage your core. Today, I'm sharing 3 things you can do to engage your core while you're actually climbing, and I'm going to walk you through 3 ways that you can build your core strength or your core tension. Starting with the 3 things that will help you engage your core while you're actually climbing, the number 1 thing you can do is tuck in your glutes. A common issue that prevents your core from engaging is that your glutes are loose and they're not fully engaged. The act of actually tucking your butt towards the wall is going to help you engage that core muscle. You can practice this on the wall or off the wall. When it comes to on the wall, just make sure that you check in with yourself while you're climbing, and you can actually do a couple of really easy routes where you do the route with your butt hanging down all the way, and then you do the route with your core engaged and pushed into the wall. Even though this isn't the project that you may be struggling with your core on, it is a good way of training what it feels like when your core is engaged and how to tuck your glutes in. You can also practice this off the wall simply when you're standing. This is probably even more easy to feel the difference when you're in a plank position, and high plank, low plank, doesn't matter. You'll be able to feel the contraction of the muscles when you tuck in your glutes. Number 2 is you're going to try and lock your shoulders and arms in place. A common issue with engaging your core is that your arms are doing so much work that your core decides to take a break. To prevent this, you can try and keep your arms as straight as possible. By locking your shoulders and arms into place, you're forcing your core to do the work for you. This isn't something that you would do if you're trying to red point a route or you're trying to get the first ascent or something like that. This is more something that you've fallen on the route a couple of times, you're trying to figure out what you're doing wrong, and if you think that maybe it's your core isn't engaged enough, at that point you can lock off your shoulders and your arms so they're straight, and then use your body to make the movements that you're trying to make. This will ensure that your core is fully engaged, and it may give you an idea of what you need to do with your body position as well. So there are a couple of facets to using this technique. And I did this route where I did moves using my arms, and then I went back and redid the move using my core. Now, this isn't a drill that I'd recommend you trying. This was simply a way of me trying to demonstrate what it looks like when you're using your arms to move versus when you're using your core to move. So if you need to, take a video of yourself and evaluate what you are doing, and if you need to engage your core a little bit more. Number 3 is if you keep on falling off a climb and still your core is not engaging the way you want it to, what you can do is warm up your core. There are a ton of core workouts. A lot of people do sit-ups, lemon squeezers. I find leg raises to be really helpful because it's similar to the movement we use in climbing. Mountain climbers are really good, as well as steamboat. Even doing a couple of sets of these where you're not exhausting yourself, it's not an exercise, it's just getting your core engaged. That way you can use your core easier while you're doing that. Now, this can be something that you do before your session, or it can be something that you stop in the middle of your session and do. And a little note here, a good friend is a friend who tells you that your core is not fully engaged. And it may be frustrating to hear because you may feel like you're engaging your core. Maybe it's time to get down, do some leg raises, do some steamboats, that kind of thing. Now let's talk about 3 drills you can do to train your core strength. That way you have more to give when you're on the climb. And I'm also going to include a bonus item at the end with another workout that you can do, so be sure to stay to the end for that. Drill number 1 is a pendulum drill. This is core intense, very challenging. You're going to find a wall, probably a spray wall or something like that, where you hold on to some holds, really good jugs. You can engage your shoulders, engage your arms as needed. And then what you're going to do is you're going to, with your right side, right foot, tap a hold on the right at about 90-degree angles from you, and then go back to central position, then swing your leg out and tap a 45-degree angle hold, and then go back to neutral position and repeat the same thing on the left side. Maybe do a set of 10 where you're doing the 90 and 45 on each side 5 times, and then take a 2-minute break and then repeat. The shorter the breaks, the more endurance based this is going to be. So if you already have the strength in your core to do this movement pretty easy, then you're probably going to want to move into the endurance side of this drill. Next drill is fun, but it is very challenging. I'm actually kind of surprised that I was able to do it. I don't think I could do this drill a year ago, so that really proves to myself I may have made some improvements, and that is called Extreme Peter Pan. If you've been following this channel, you may already be familiar with Peter Pans. That's where every time you move your feet, you cut your feet and get back on. Extreme Peter Pans is when you fully drop your legs so that your body is in a neutral position. You're going to breathe out and breathe in, and then get your feet back on. This makes the movement much more challenging. I decided to do this on a really easy climb, but because of the angle of the climb made it so challenging, it was probably just as hard as if I did this drill on a more challenging route. So keep that in mind. If it's more overhung, then you might want to do an easier climb climb with easier handholds. That way you can really focus on the work in your core, dropping those feet, getting them back up, engaging them to the next move. Drill number 3 is really fun, and if you haven't tried this, I would definitely recommend it, especially on an easier route. And this drill is called SLOTH, and it is exactly what it sounds like. You are going to pretend to be a sloth, and every movement is going to be ultra slow. And to showcase this, I really tried to get shots of other people in the background so you could see I actually am going slow. I'm not just changing this in post. You have to really engage your core to keep that movement slow. And so that's something that's really fun about this drill. How often is it that you get to pretend to be a sloth for a climb? I'd actually probably do this drill a couple of times for a session if I was going to include this in my regimen. The easier the route, maybe do this drill multiple times. And then for those harder routes, maybe just do this drill 1 or 2 times, depending on how much you can handle. Now for that bonus item that I mentioned, and then I'll get into climb of the week that I'm really excited about. Bonus item is a hanging workout. And these are actually drills that I've gotten from watching professional climbers train. When it comes to core workouts, if you want to match climbing as much as possible, I highly recommend doing hanging workouts for your abs. That way it's doing similar movements as it would in climbing. The first one is leg lifts, which you're probably already familiar with. I am surprised that I could do 1 set of straight legs. I couldn't get them up all the way, but hey, this is an improvement, right? If you can't do straight legs, then bend your knees and bring your knees up. Try and minimize swing. This can be challenging for sure. If you're minimizing swing, that just means that you are engaging your core even more. The next one is knee to opposite elbow. It's really similar to the steamboat. You're going to keep your arms at a lock-off position and then bring the opposite knee to the opposite elbow. One other workout is fun to do with a friend, and Meg thought it was so interesting that she decided to try it too. It's foot to target. Your friend is going to put their hand up high, up low, up in the middle. They're going to move it around, and then you place your foot and you tap their hand. It's a fun workout, but believe me when I say it is still very challenging, especially when you get those high ones. It almost feels like you're doing part of a front lever, and in this video you can't tell at all that that's what I'm feeling, but when I get really high I feel like I have to push my body back like I'm doing a front lever. Maybe I'm on my way to doing a front lever, who knows. So I hope that you enjoyed that bonus item. Hanging core workout is definitely going to be something that I'm adding to my training regimen, and I hope you add it to yours as well. Now for the reason you're all actually here, climb of the week. Let's go check it out. This week's climb of the week is a continuation of last week, and if you didn't see last week's video, go check that out. I am trying this V7. It's very crimpy. It's not quite a slab. Slight overhang, but it's kind of slabby at the same time. This is about where I got to last time. I actually made it 1 move further. So I decided to get back up to that point so I can start projecting from it. On my second try climbing up to it, something happened. I smacked my shin on the way down, and you can believe it, I did not want to climb that again. So we decided to look at a different climb. Look at this nice big holds green climb going on here. It's a V5, slight overhang. Biggest part of it is there's a lot of stemming involved, which my hips have been killing me lately. I've actually have a hard time walking. They hurt so much. So stemming, probably not the smartest idea, but hey, if you're gonna have big holds, you gotta have a challenge somewhere else. It's kind of funny watching this video of me trying this climb, and I wasn't able to flash it, unfortunately, but something that stood out to me was when I'm actually climbing the route, it's really hard for me to see my body position and to see where all the holds are, where the wall is. When I'm watching this video, it seems so clear and easy. It seems obvious, honestly. At this point, I am kind of scared, but I feel like I should definitely have flashed it, so I just need to get up to the top. I knew based on the first try that I needed to get my foot up there, and it was exactly what I needed to do. Once I was up there, got my body position correct, I was able to support my weight. It's not the V7, but if I finish it, I'll be sure to share it with you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or brought value to it, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends who would also enjoy it, and enjoy climbing.